Hello everyone, this is the finale of What If Naruto was in Sword Art Online, and I hope you guys enjoy this video and to like, to subscribe, and check out the playlist, to see more comment down below. Now let's start the intro.
They call me a god. They call me a god. They call me a god.
Senju Clinic. Tsunde's office. Tsunade is looking silently and intently at the teen boy in front of her. She knows what he will choose because he is exactly like his mother. So selfless and devoted to his friends, that he is ready to sacrifice his own life for them. Naruto is thinking really hard about the revelation of his health. On one hand, he will save Yuki, but there is a possibility that he may never see the world ever again. Naruto turned to Tsunade and asked with calculating eyes. Senju-san. Tsunade turned her attention to him. Do you know any Uzumaki? Maybe they could help me with the situation. Tsunade shook her head and answered, none. I see you didn't know anything about your family. Naruto blinked questionably. Tsunade sighed and started to explain. The Uzumaki family had been wiped out since long ago. Naruto widened his eyes in shock. Why? Asked Naruto with horror in his voice. Tsunade took a bottle of water and took a gulp from it, then continued. Because of their blood, of course. The ancient people, that time, viewed the Uzumaki family as demons or impure beings. So they decided to wipe them out to purge the country. Only at the start of the X century did they realize their mistake, because the Uzumakis could have saved so many lives. In fact, the only Uzumakis left that I know is your mother and you, Gaki. Naruto felt saddened for his clan's unfair fate, but then widens his eyes when he heard that Tsunade knew his mother. Why you knew my Ka-chan, Senju-san? Naruto asked softly with widened eyes. Tsunade chuckled and replied back. Yeah, your mother was a troublemaker and a tomboy. But even so, she was still the most desirable girl in her class. The boys always tried to ask her out. But your mother was not interested in anyone. Yeah, no one except your father. Naruto blinked and listened intently to Tsunade's story. But that was when they were in the Tokyo's Technical Institute. Actually, your mother ignored your father at the start. Tsunade giggles as she recalled a certain memory. But your father felt your mother behavior really amusing, so he kept annoying her to the point that Kushina began to chase him around the institute. Naruto chuckled as he imagined that. Then they fall in love with each other and gave birth to you. Tsunade looked at Naruto softly and continued, you are truly the perfect mix of both of them. You have Minato's good looks and brains. But you have Kushina's personality and heart. Naruto felt his tears dropped as he lost his parents since he was very young. To hear some memories of them made him really happy. Naruto rubbed the tears away and asked, but how do you know so much about my parents? Who are you to them? Tsunade looked at Naruto longingly, then decided to answer. It will be strange if her mother didn't know about her daughter's life. Naruto's eyes widened in shock and his mouth agape. Tsunade chuckled at his expression and added, I am her mother, but not a birth one. Rather an adopted one. Naruto's eyes slowly returned to normal. He looked softly at Tsunade and then approached to embrace her. But that still makes you my Ba-chan. I am happy that I met you. Tsunade also embraced the boy back and replied with a chuckle. Even though I didn't like it when people called me old. I will accept it this time, Gaki. Naruto also chuckled, but then he remembered that he still need to save Yuki. I am sorry beforehand, Tsunade Barkan. I know that you won't like that I will risk my life for someone, but I will still do it. Sure, my dying rate is 50%, but Yuki's life is entirely in my hands now. She won't have other options. I am the only one that could save her. I did promise her that I will show her a miracle. Naruto replied with resolve burning in his eyes. Tsunade looked in those eyes full of resolve and determination. She just sighed and replied. I know that I won't be able to stop you, Naruto. Like your mother, you really treasure your friends. I just want to say that the 50% of survival is determined solely on your will to life. I will believe that you will overcome that. But the side effect is even if you will escape the death, you will still be in a coma. Because the girl that you're tried to save is infected with AIDS since birth. That means in order to purge her blood from the virus, need about half the amount of your blood. Naruto slowly nodded his head as he understood the situation is very complicated. But this is the only way to save Yuki. And he also didn't prepare to die anytime soon. His friends will be waiting for him. His Nei-chan, Shugu-chan, Rika-chan, Kirito, Klein, Mana-san, Sachi, Keiko and his beloved Shino-chan. So many businesses still left unfinished, he won't die so easily. Naruto said goodbye to Tsunade and embraced her. He walked out of her cabinet and head to the hospital where Yuki is currently reside. Tsunade looked out of the window at Naruto's leaving figure and prayed silently. May the god bless you, Naruto. Yokohama Port. Northern General Hospital. Naruto-san, you have returned. You did say that you search for a way to save Kono-kun, right? Asked Dr. Kurahashi as he greets Naruto at the same place when they first talk. Yeah, I indeed find a way to save Yuki, nodded Naruto, which caused Dr. Kurahashi to widen his eyes and stood up in shock. But how? We have used all the methods, but it just plain impossible. How can you claim that you find a way? You are not even a doctor, cried out Kurahashi in disbelief. Naruto stared at him longingly and counted. That's because the way of saving Yuki, in this case, is an exception. Exception, repeated Kurahashi, squinting his eyes. Naruto nodded his head and replied. Yes, an exception. The blood in my family is special. It has the ability to heal and erase the virus in a person's body. I will transfer my blood to Yuki to save her. Kurahashi still looks at Naruto longingly. After some minutes, he finally decided to retort. But Kono-san is being infected since her birth. Can your blood really erase the entire virus that has been ruining her organism from such a long time? Plus the amount need will be at least half of yours. Naruto took a deep sigh and looked at the ceiling with a solemn gaze. You don't need to worry, Kurahashi-san. I've prepared for all of that. Kurahashi looked at Naruto with his eyes widen in bewilderment and disbelief. This boy is ready to sacrifice himself to save Kono-kun. This is the first time he sees a person so selfless. No, in fact this is the only person he has seen in his life that is this selfless. As the time pass, the humanity become even more corrupt and selfish. All they think is what benefit them best and completely ignore others. Because of that, the boy in front of him could be counted as a saint. His respect for this boy just grew tenfold. So are really going to sacrifice yourself to save Kono-kun? Asked Kurahashi while looked at Naruto with a serious gaze. Naruto stared back at him and responded. I don't plan to die anytime soon. I am a very greedy person. People always say that in order to save someone you need to sacrifice something. But I will have both of them, Yuki's life and my life. Naruto then stood up and stated. Now I would like to see Yuki. Can you lead me to her place, please? Kurahashi nodded his head and also stood up. Follow me, please, Naruto-san. They began to walk to Yuki's treatment room where she is currently using Medicuboid. As they are walking, Naruto decided to make a request. Kurahashi-san. Kurahashi turns to him. Can you, please, don't tell Yuki the truth. Yuki is a very caring girl. She won't accept the fact that someone will be sacrificed for her sake. I know it's cruel and she will feel herself guilty, but in order to save her life that must be done. Kurahashi looked solemnly at the boy and nodded his head. I promise you that I won't tell her anything. Naruto nodded his head at his agreement. They finally reached her room. Naruto could see the figure of the small girl lying on the bed. The huge full dive technology was on her upper head, reveals only her mouth and nose. So this is a Medicuboid, muttered Naruto looking at the machine in interest. Yes, this is Medicuboid. The newest medical technology that is still in test, replied Kurahashi. The room beyond this glass is an air-controlled clean room, so you can't go in. Naruto nodded his head knowingly. Yuki, can you hear me? Naruto called out to her. Inside a virtual space, Yuki heard Naruto's voice and beamed happily. Yeah, I can hear you very clearly, Naruto. Naruto smiled lightly knowing that she could see him through the Medicuboid. How are you feeling there? It must be really boring looking at the same sight all the time, ne? Joked Naruto with a smirk. He heard Yuki's laugh as she responded. Well, yeah, all those screens that are floating around me all the time. I am so sick of them, you know, fumed Yuki, which caused Naruto to laugh. Meanwhile, Kurahashi looked at the interaction between Yuki and Naruto. He looked down to the ground solemnly as this interaction probably will be their last. Why fate is so cruel towards kind people. Don't worry though, you will manage to see the other sights really soon, said Naruto with a smirk. Inside the virtual space, hearing that caused Yuki's eyes widen and began to tear up. Then why you are really find a way to save me, Naruto. That's not a joke, ne? I will be able to go to school, to hang out with my friends and to do whatever I want, stuttered Yuki with a hopeful voice. Naruto smirked, hearing her disbelief tone in her voice. Yeah. Didn't I tell Kurahashi-san to tell you that just keep believe in me and the miracle will happen? I told you before. I never back up from my words, ever. I want to see you now, Naruto. I want to hug you and to say, thank you, over and over, exclaimed Yuki. She looked at Kurahashi through her screen and asked, Sensei, can you let Naruto go to the next room? Kurahashi nodded his head and turned to Naruto. The atmosphere I always use to talk to her is in the next room. Naruto bowed his head in gratefulness. Thank you. He entered the next room. When you logged in, just go the place where you and Asuna have fought, hinted Yuki to Naruto. Naruto nodded his head in understanding. Allo. Naruto has logged in and immediately set off to the first place that he has met Yuki. After a while of flying, Naruto arrived and landed at the same huge tree he has seen before. Naruto was about to call out to her, but he was suddenly tacked to the ground by Yuki. Naruto smiled slightly at her and began to rub her head. I am glad to see you again, Yuki, said Naruto softly. Me too. I missed you and Asuna so much, replied Yuki softly as well. Then she rises up and raising her eye. You said that you found a way to save my life, right? Naruto nodded his head in confirmation. How though? All the doctors couldn't find a way and yet a mere teenager did. Naruto narrowed his eyes and pouted. You underestimate my ability too much, Yuki. I am far from being the normal teenager. I am the legendary VR MMO player, remember? Naruto puffed his chest, proud of himself. Yuki blinking for a minute then burst out laughing. You really never change, Naruto. The same arrogant as ever. Naruto just grinned at her comment. Naruto then decided to stand up, which caused Yuki to do the same. He stepped forward and looked out at the horizon. I won't tell you how I managed to find a way for you survival. But you will eventually find out though. Naruto then turned back to Yuki and then opened his bag to took the Kusanagi out and offered to Yuki. I won't need this blade anytime soon. Because soon I will go to a very far place. I won't be in Tokyo anymore. So I want you to take this sword. But only temporary. When I returned I will take back my partner. Until then, please use it. You are Zekken, so this sword is perfect for your tittle. Yuki narrowed her eyes in suspicion as the only person that has ever held Kusanagi is Kirito. And now he is offering his partner to her. Something is definitely wrong here. Where are you going? When will I see you again? Did Asuna know that you are leaving? I don't know when I will return, Yuki. That's why I want you to be the strongest swordsman in my place, responded Naruto staring at Yuki. Yuki looked at him for a while and reluctantly accepted Kusanagi. Naruto nodded his head and then turned his gaze to the sky. I will probably going for now. See you soon, Yuki. Yuki suddenly felt that if he left her then he will be gone forever. So she gripped his sleeve unknowingly and whispered, I will see you soon in reality, Naruto's back was turned to her. His eyes have been shadowed. He just whispered back softly. Yeah. With that he opened the menu to exit. Naruto lied to her, knowing full well that after that the death will be waiting for him or he will be comatose, who knows how long. Real world. Naruto returned back to reality and stepped out of the room. He called Kurahashi outside to talk to him. Kurahashi-san, I want to do the blood transfusion tomorrow. The sooner I save Yuki the better it will be for her. Kurahashi nodded his head silently. He looked solemnly at Naruto and suggested. Maybe we could find the other way to save Kono-san. You don't need to go to such length, Naruto-san. Naruto shook his head in negative and responded. None. Blood transfusion is the only way to save Yuki. And only my blood could save her. Naruto was about to leave but turned back to Kurahashi and said. But thank you for worrying about me, even though we met not long ago. You are really a good person, Kurahashi-san. With that Naruto turned to leave. Kurahashi could only looked at the back of the leaving boy and gritted his teeth at his helplessness. Naruto's apartment. Naruto returned to the living and as usual saw that Jiraiya is watching some kind of erotic movie with a lecherous expression on his face with a huge blush. Naruto just sighed at the pervert and implied. And you even wondered why Tsunade-bachan is rejecting you. Jiraiya turned to the source of the voice and saw that it was Naruto. Oh, Gaki. You've returned. So how is my Heimis doing? She is all right. Though she didn't even recall you at all, pervert, replied Naruto while rolling his eyes. Hearing that caused Jiraiya to widen his eyes and cried comically. How could you forget the first person to confess to you? You are so cruel, Tsunade. Jiraiya sniffed like a child lost his toy, which caused Naruto to snickers at how silly he looks. Suddenly he heard the sound of doorbell, so he stood up to open the door. When he opened it, he saw Asuna stood in front of him, and she is not really happy, based on her fuming expression. I tried to call you so many times. Where was you, that you couldn't respond to my call? Demanded Asuna, and putting her hands on her hips. Naruto scratched the back of his head nervously. Gumen Nichan. I was really busy back then and didn't even look into my phone. Asuna still staring at him with narrow eyes. Naruto turned his gaze away from hers, as her staring really made him uncomfortable. Asuna sighed out and decided to let it go, but decided to ask something else. Why didn't you log in Allo anymore? Everybody was really worried for you, you know. Especially the girls, they couldn't contact you the last days as well. Naruto felt really guilty. He was so focused on finding a way to save Yuki that he has completely forget about spending times with the girls. Well, Shino is currently visiting her mother, so she will come back in about 3 to 4 days. I am really sorry. It's just during the last days I was so busy that I barely have any free time to think about relaxing, Naruto said solemnly and looking at the ground. Asuna softened her gaze and put her hand on his shoulder, which caused him to look up at her. If you are that busy, then I can't blame you. Are you still busy? Tomorrow, we decided to go for another boss hunt, suggested Asuna, smiling at him hopefully. Naruto looked at her with a solemn gaze and replied. Gumen Nichan. But tomorrow I will still busy. Just say hello from me to Kirito, Yui-chan, Wendy-chan, Klein, and the girls, okay? Asuna sighed out and said, well, that's a shame then. Yuki also said that tomorrow she will be busy. Guess, me, Kirito-kun and the rest will handle that boss then. Asuna was about turned to leave, before saying, I hope you will be able to join us soon, Naruto. Everyone miss you after all. Naruto looked solemnly at her and responded, I miss everyone as well. But I promise when I finish with my business, I will join you guys. Asuna wished him good luck and turned to leave, not knowing that this will probably the last time she will see him conscious. Next day, Northern General Hospital. Naruto arrived at the hospital and Kurahashi with some of his colleagues are already waiting for him. Naruto-san, you've come. Kurahashi greeted Naruto with a solemn gaze. Naruto nodded his head acknowledging. Kurahashi began to lead Naruto to the room where the blood transfusion will be made. In the room, there was 2 beds, on one of them lied Yuki. She has a tiny body because of the lack of proper nutrition, and unlike in Allo, her hair is short down to her shoulders. To prevent Yuki from discovering about the blood transfusion, Kurahashi has given her a sleeping drug. Naruto approached the lying figure of Yuki with a soft gaze and whispered. Soon you will take my place while I take yours, Yuki. Naruto then walked back to Kurahashi and have him an envelope and requested, when Yuki woke up, please deliver this envelope to her, Kurahashi-san. I understand, nodded Kurahashi, accepting the envelope. Naruto lied down to the nearby bed, turning to look at Yuki one last time and closed his eyes. The other doctors proceed to make a blood transfusion. Kurahashi looked at Naruto mourningly one last time and walked out of the room. 5 hours later, Yuki suddenly felt herself a lot better. She groggily opens her eyes, but shut them up again as the light was too bright for her eyes. She covered her eyes with her hand and turned aside, then tried to open them again. This time she fully opened them and could see that she is in some kind of room. It was not her room, where she used Medicuboid. Suddenly a voice interrupted her thoughts. I see, you've awake Kono-san, Kurahashi greeted her with a light smile. Sensei, what is going on? I feel a lot better. No, in fact I've never felt this healthy ever before. It's like, I've never been infected ever, wondered Yuki in surprise and has no idea why this happened. All your virus has been completely cleansed, Kono-san. That was unbelievable, I didn't even know it was possible by a mere blood transfusion, stated Kurahashi in awe at the Uzumaki blood ability. Blood transfusion. What are you talking about, sensei? Wondered Yuki curiously. Kurahashi looked solemnly at the nearby bed where Naruto is lying. Yuki followed his gaze and widens her eyes in shock. Why is Naruto here? Why is he lying there? Demanded Yuki. Kurahashi took a deep sigh and started to explain. Isn't it obvious, Kono-san? Naruto was the one that did a blood transfusion. He was the one to give you his blood in order to save you, Yuki squinting her eyes. She doesn't understand how blood transfusion could cure her illness. But how a blood transfusion manages to heal my illness. You've used so many drugs and medicine on me but nothing works, and yet just by blood transfusion, it cure my illness. That's because Naruto-san's blood is not a mere blood. It is a special type of blood that I've never seen before. According to Naruto-san, this blood could only run in his family exceptionally. It has the ability to erase any virus because of the unusual antibody in the blood. Naruto-san transfers his blood to you knowing that it will cure your condition. Not only that, but Naruto-san's blood is universal, which means he could give to anyone, explained Kurahashi to Yuki about the special blood of Uzumaki family. Yuki tried to stand up, but her body is still very weak. Then why did he lie there till now? A mere blood transfusion couldn't be caused this, right? Kurahashi looked at Yuki long enough and decided to reveal the horrible truth. He won't wake up anytime soon, Kono-san. Yuki widens her eyes and demand, what do you mean, sensei? Kurahashi looked aside solemnly but answered, you are right, Kono-san. Normally a mere blood transfusion won't be much of a trouble. But in Naruto's case it is dangerous. What? Why? Whispered Yuki in horror. Her eyes slowly began to tear up. Naruto-san's body has suffered a lot of damage from electric attacks. The blood inside of him is the only fact that keeps his body from shutting down. But in order to cure your illness, we've transferred at least half of his blood into you. The remaining amount couldn't keep his body from the damages done to him, so it shut down. Kurahashi continued the explanation to her. Yuki couldn't keep her tears anymore and let them fell down her cheeks. She began to sob silently. In Naruto, you are a liar. You said that I will meet you in real works and yet you lied there helplessly. I never asked you to sacrifice yourself for my sake, Barker. Thought Yuki mourningly. Kurahashi looked at her in sadness. The result is as expected. But Naruto managed to survive because of his incredible will to life. His condition is no longer life-threatening, but the question is when he will wake up. Month, years, nobody knows when. Only the time have the answer to that question. He then remembered the envelope that Naruto has given him before the blood transfusion. Kono-san. Yuki dried her tears and looked up at Kurahashi while hiccup. Before the blood transfusion, Naruto-san gives me this envelope and said to deliver it to you. Kurahashi offered her the envelope. Yuki quickly opened it up and noticed a letter addresses to her inside. As she read, her tears slowly began to gather again. Dear Yuki, when you read this letter I will either go to the upper world or lying in coma. I know that you won't be pleased with my decision. That's why I didn't told you from the beginning, knowing that you will never agree to this. But don't blame yourself about this. This is entire my choice, so you don't feel guilty. Continue on with your life and head to the future you want to build. By the way, because of the blood in your veins, now I could call you Imuoto. I've always wanted to have Imuoto, so you've no choice but to accept the role. If I am in a coma state, then wait for me because someday I will definitely wake up. Goodbye, my dear Imuoto. Your Anarchy Uzumaki Yuki Naruto. Yuki couldn't hold back the grief in her heart anymore and began to cry openly. Kurahashi also looked at her in grief. He didn't know what was written in that letter or what Yuki is feeling right now. But whatever was written in that letter really affected her to cause her to cry openly like this. Kirigaya household. 3 days has passed since Naruto fall into coma. Kirito was suspicious that it has something to do with Zekin's condition. Why would Naruto ask for her condition if he didn't want to help her? But Kirito knew that the surviving rate of Zekin is very low, near zero. Because he has exchanging problems with Kurahashi via emails, he found out that only those in terminal care will be using Medicuboid. And Zekin is the first tester. But despite that, he also knew that Naruto is very stubborn and reckless as well. He would go to any length to save his friends. The prime example is during the time in Sao and the horrible incident with Shugu in Alo. Kirito guessed that after so many damage dealt to his body, Naruto's health is not in a very good condition despite how he looks. It's time to check out that hospital to find out some clue. Kirito walked out of the house, which caught Shugu her attention. It was near dinner time and her brother decided to go somewhere. Oni-chan, where are you going? I am nearly finished cooking, asked Shugu her with a scowl on her face. Kirito turned back to her and apologized. Gomen, Shugu. Eat without me this time. I need to check out somewhere. With that he opened the door and walked out of the house. But he could still hear Shuguha shouted out. Can't you do it after dinner? Kirito sighed and quickly headed to his bike and rev it up. He drives straight to the direction of the Yokohama port. He really felt a bad feeling. Why the heck things can't be normal for once? First, they managed to escape the death game thanks to Naruto effort. Then the crazy Shugu was about control everyone through the device that control the human brains. That time he stopped him and rescued Naruto. Then the crazy creep from the former Red Guild Laughing Coffin decided to lure Naruto in GGO for the revenge. But in the end they only managed to capture only one, the other managed to escape. What kind of tragedy will happen this time? Yokohama Port. Northern General Hospital. Because of Uzumaki's blood incredible healing abilities, Yuki could walk normally now. But she chose to stay by Naruto's side. Even though Kurahashi has offered her to come back to her old house to reunite with her father. Though Yuki insisted that she will stay here for some time. Kurahashi understood why. She don't want to be separated from her now related brother for now. Yuki is sitting near Naruto's bed while grasping his hand. Onisama, please wake up soon. I can't bear to see you in a state like this. Onisama, I know always brave, reckless and overconfident to the point of arrogance. But now you are just lying motionlessly on the bed. It's just not right at all. Onisama should always be the strongest, the unshakable for the others to depend on, but not lying here hopelessly. With each words a tear started to shed from her eyes. Yuki rubbed her eyes to clear her sight and continued. I know that you said I shouldn't blame myself, because this is your own choice. But I can't, Onisama. I am feeling guilty for your condition. I don't know what to do now to lift that guilt of my shoulder. I don't think that my life will return to normal without you, Onisama. Behind the door, Kurahashi heard her and sighed solemnly. He would think that with Naruto's sacrifice, Yuki will be able to move on with life. But it seems Yuki's feelings for him is so strong that even Naruto himself didn't aware of that. But he still somehow to convince her to return to her father. Who knows when Naruto will wake up? Maybe weeks or months and the worst case he won't wake up at all. Elsewhere, Asada Shino is sitting on her seat in the train and looked out of the window. She has visited her mother and now is returning to her home. As Shino looked out of the window, she couldn't help but think about her boyfriend. She frowned when she guessed that with her leaving Naruto may eat his ramen every day. Of course he could, because no one is there to control him. The pervert is always watching some kind of beauty contest or some adult movie and completely ignored everything around him. Actually the only times she saw him serious was when he whirled on Naruto's game project. When she thought about Naruto, she smiled fondly. He is an arrogant and cheeky bastard that always tried to prank her when she was at home. Home. Since when did she start to call Naruto's apartment her home? She knew the answer herself. Since the time she moved in with him. She didn't know how, but her mother has found out about Naruto and teased her about that. She even joked that she didn't mind for her and Naruto to get married when they reach 18. Get married? Huh. That thought actually crossed her mind sometimes, because after living with Naruto for a while she could clearly say that she is in love with him. Not want to brag, but her relationship with Naruto has become much closer, after she moved in with him. Of course, Shino knows that he still has Rika and Shuguha as his girlfriends, but they can't spend as much time as she with Naruto. And if she and Naruto tight a knot then they won't be able to pursue him anymore. She knew that is selfish, but that is what she always desired. A family of her own. Of course, to think about children at this age is still early. But she wants Naruto to be only hers. And her only his. What Shino didn't know, is a horrible revelation that is waiting for her in Tokyo. Northern General Hospital. Kazuto has arrived at the entrance of the hospital. He looked at the hospital outwardly and entered it. Kazuto approached one of the reception cabin and asked. I am sorry, but is there a person named Yuki here? Kazuto guessed that Zekin like Asuna might use her real name to name her avatar, so he decided to give it a shot. Yes, there is. But who are you to Yuki-san? The receptionist replied back. I am one of her friends. We never met face to face, so I decided to visit her this time. Kazuto scratched his head in thought then replied back. The receptionist was silent for a minute then nodded her head. All right. Wait here for a minute, I will call someone that will take you to see her. Thank you, responded Kazuto and bowed his head. Not long after that, a doctor began to approach him. But Kazuto widened his eyes because he recognized this person. He is the same person that he is exchanging emails to fix his problems. Though it seems he was not the only one surprised, because he could see Kurahashi has the same expression as his. Well, that's a surprise. Never expected to see you here, Kirito-kun. Kurahashi greeted Kirito and offered him a hand to shake. I know that you said you works at the hospital, but it is still a surprise to see you here, Kurahashi-san. Kazuto shook his hand with a smile. So why are you here? Yuki-kun certainly told me about you, an exceptionally stronger swordsman, that is fighting equal with her, but I didn't think that you were close to her, asked Kurahashi curiously. I am actually for the other reason, Kirito shook his head and continued. The past 3 days, is there a person named Uzumaki Yuki Naruto comes here? Kurahashi bit his lower lip and looked down. Kirito narrowed his eyes at doctor's action. Kurahashi took a deep breath and began to walk away while said. Just follow me, Kirito-kun. Any questions, please, ask them when we arrive. Kirito nodded his head curtly and began to follow Kurahashi. He has a very bad feeling about this. Very bad. They stopped in front of a door that right, special case. Kurahashi turned to Kazuto and warned. You can find all your answers here. There is one more person in there, so, please, don't press on her too much. She has gone through a lot already. What you may see inside will certainly struck you hard. I recommend you get a hold of yourself. I'll be going now. There are still many patients that need to take care of. Kazuto nodded his head carefully and watched as Kurahashi turned back to walk away. Kazuto turned back to the door, took a deep breath before hold to the door handle and slowly opened it. When he looked in, he saw a girl with short dark hair is sitting near the bed that the figure is currently lying. By approaching closer, he widened his eyes and gasped in shock and horror. The figure that was lying helplessly on the bed is none other than his best friend, Uzumaki Yuki Naruto. At first, Yuki didn't notice Kazuto's presence because she is focusing all her attention at her unconscious brother. But when a gasp was produced, she immediately turned back and saw a boy with dark hair. He has a girly face and was wearing in dark clothes. She could recognize him easily as Kirito, because he didn't look that much different when he was in game. Kirito-san. You've come, Yuki greeted him quietly. What happened to Naruto? Why is he in this condition? Kazuto approached her and asked, still with a very shocked expression. Yuki bit her lower lip in guilt. How should she tell him that Naruto is here, in this condition, because of her? Seeing she is hesitant, Kirito decided to encourage her. Please, tell me the truth. No matter what, I won't judge you. Because I know it's not your fault at all. Yuki reluctantly looked up at Kazuto and slowly nodded her head. She started to retold from the moment she revealed her seemingly incurable illness to the moment where Naruto found out a way to save her life and sacrificed himself. The surviving rate was 50%. Even though Kirito knew that Naruto loved to gamble, he never expected for him to even gamble his own life. What kind of crazy person will do something like that for the sake of the other? The answer is only one. Naruto. In the whole world there won't be such a crazy bastard like him. I should have expected that, said Kirito with sigh, then glanced towards Yuki to add. You know, it's not the only time he sacrificed himself to save someone. And if count this time, with you, he has sacrificed himself 4 times in total. 4 times. Onisama nearly died 4 times, whispered Yuki with her eyes widened in horror. Her eyes slowly start to tear up. Kazuto nodded his head solemnly and continued. Yeah. The first time, he sacrificed himself to save all the SAO players from that death game by fighting the GM himself. He was presumed dead, but actually was transferred to the other VR MMO. The second time, according to Asuna, he used the moment the server was in maintenance to rescue Asuna and helped her to log out. Even though he has lost his memory by then, he was later captured by a madman and being electrocuted to near death. That was the time when he was the closest to death. The third time, he logged in GGO to settle scores with the former Red Guild members of SAO. He created a plan to lure and captured the culprit. Even though the operation was a success, he still suffered some unexpected consequence. Kirito turned to her and stared longingly at her, which unnerved Yuki a little. And then he chose to save you and again end up in the hospital. I know that if his health was normal he won't be lying here. The consequences of the past incidents have led him to this state. It's not your fault at all. And I am sure that Naruto will want you to move on with your life. But I am still feel guilty for what happened to Onisama. I can't help but not blame myself. If not for me, then Onisama would never, retort Yuki and start to sob with each sentence. But Kirito interrupted her. If not for you then Naruto won't end up here. Yes, that may be true. But there can't be the other outcome, because Naruto always cherished bonds with his friends and close ones to him. In other words, even if you refuse his help, he will still save you. That's what kind of a person Naruto is. Kirito tilted his head curiously and asked one question that bothered him since he heard her called his friend, Onisama. Why are you calling Naruto, Onisama, though? Before you told me those incredible stories about him, I already decided to call him, Onisama. And after hearing your stories about him, I think the title suit him best, for me exceptionally. After all what he has been through and done, called him just Nisan or Anarchy is just mere disrespect. So, Onisama suits him best, explained Yuki with a light smile. Suka, muttered Kazuto silently and looked at the sleeping figure of Naruto. So Naruto gained a new cute Imuoto, eh? Wonder what Asuna and others will say. Thinking about them, made Kazuto remembered that they still didn't know anything. He need to inform them immediately. Sure they will be devastated by this revelation, but better reveal to them now than later. With that thought, Kirito stood up and walked to the door which gained Yuki's attention. Are you leaving already, Kirito? I need to inform Asuna and the others about Naruto. They still didn't know anything. I am sure you understand that it's better to reveal them now rather than hide the truth and lie to them. Giving them a false hope is not the best option, explained Kirito and turned his head slightly to Yuki. Then he walked out and closed the door lightly. Yuki nodded hesitantly as she understood the situation. But she is feeling nervous now. Soon she will be able to see Asuna for the first time IRL. She wondered what she should say to her. Will they become friends like in Alo? Will she accept her? Numerous of questions running in Yuki's head at this moment. Yuki's household. Asuna decided to convince her mother about the transferring matter. She wanted to show her mother the wonderful virtual world which created by the person she loves. Besides, she wants to help her mother to move on and forgive Naruto's parents. She wants for her to accept Naruto and love him like her son like the rest of the family. She brought one more spared Amusphere with her and right now is standing next to her mother's room. Asuna knocked slightly and Kyoko gave her permission to come in. When she walked in she saw that her mother is sitting at the computer. Asuna slowly approached her and said, "Car-san, can I take a little of your time?" Kyoko slowly turned to her daughter and replied, "I am listening. Please, put this on your head." Asuna offered her mother the Amusphere. "What for? I told you already I am not interested in that false world of yours," retort Kyoko with disdain, looking aside slightly. I want to show you something. And tell you something," argued Asuna. "Then tell me, here. What is the problem?" replied Kyoko with a tilt of her head. "No." Asuna shook her head. "Here is not the suitable place for our talk. Please, just once and I won't ever ask you to put it ever again." Kyoko sighed and nodded her head. "Okay, but only this once." Asuna nodded her head. Kyoko put the Amusphere on her head and asked curiously, "So, what to do next?" Asuna pressed a button to turn it on while said, "You just wait here for me. I will use the other device in my room to log us both in. In this Amusphere, there is already my other account registered. When you logged in just wait for me, okay?" Kyoko nodded her head. Asuna quickly ran upstairs to her room and lied down to the bed, to activate the other Amusphere. Link start. With those words both her and Kyoko were transferred to the world of Alo. Alo. Asuna's cabin. When Asuna logged in she saw that her mother inspecting her other avatar. Asuna's other avatar is a sylph that has shoulder-length hair. It actually suit Kyoko very much because they basically has the same hairstyle. "How unusual to look in the mirror and see a face that is not yours," muttered Kyoko with eyes narrowed in interest. Then she started to bounce on her feet. "And this body is very light. Well, this avatar is only 40 kilograms, while you weigh more IRL, Car-san." Asuna approached her mother. Kyoko turned to her daughter with deadpanned eyes. "How rude. I didn't wait much you know." Then she narrowed her eyes at Asuna's avatar and comment. You look the same as in IRL though. Well, yeah, but the next comment caused Asuna to frown and puffed her cheeks. Though IRL your face is plumper. Now you are the one who is rude, Car-san. I am exactly like me IRL. Kyoko made a serious face and turned to her daughter. Well, you want to talk and show something to me, are you not? Asuna nodded her head and walked ahead while saying, come here. Kyoko followed her to the other room. Asuna opened up the window by raised it up. She then turned to her mother and asked, well, don't you think it looks really similar? Really similar to what? They are just some stupid cedar trees, retort Kyoko disinterestedly. But her eyes suddenly widen a bit because this sight indeed really familiar to her. Doesn't it remind you of Grandma and Grandpa's house? Asuna said in nostalgia while Kyoko still stays silent. I loved my Grandma and Grandpa's house in Miyagi. Asuna started to recall those happy memories that she spent with her grandparents. I remember that time when the whole family went to Kyoto, but I went to Miyagi on my own. I apologized to them back then. I am sorry that Mom can't come to visit the graves. I was really busy that day and there is a service that I need to attend no matter what. Kyoko explained her reason for her absence. I am not blaming you at all. Grandpa said that you are their treasure, Asuna said with a smile. Kyoko widened her eyes in surprise at that statement. They are really proud of you, you know. Grandpa even said that one day you will get tired and want to rest. So they will protect the house and the mountain till you decided to return to that place. By that time, Kyoko barely held back her tears. Crying is so unlike her. I am grateful to Minato-san for creating this world. Thanks to him, I've met so many friends. As Asuna saying that Kyoko face saddened at the reminder of Minato. As I'd feeling her sadness, Asuna turned to her. I am sure that they are looking for your forgiveness, Car-san. You should forgive them as well. I am sure that they didn't intend to betray you like that. Because love is unpredictable. Who knows, if I didn't met Kirito-kun, I may as well fall in love with Naruto. Didn't you think I didn't try before, Asuna? I know that it's not right to blame Naruto just because he looks like carbon copy of his father. But my heart refused to forgive him. Retort Kyoko. By now the tears poured from her eyes like river. Naruto lost his parents since he was young. I understood the reason why he wants for me to accept him. But because I can't let go of the past, I've become a horrible mother to him. Asuna hugged her mother tightly as she poured her feelings out. She rubbed her mother's back and whispered, maybe you should try once more. This place is special, you know. Just as Kyoko decided to ask what she meant, her eyes widened in shock as she saw a two-figure standing far away in the blizzard. They are Kushina and Minato. They both have a solemn expression on their face. Suddenly both of them bowed their head down like they are apologizing. When they looked at her, their lips moved for seconds. Then, as if they were mere mirage, disappeared in front of her vision. The message somehow was clear to Kyoko. Please forgive us, and take care for our son, Kyoko-chan. Asuna certainly couldn't see them because her face is not facing the window when she embraced Kyoko. I forgive both of you, Kushina, Minato-kun. From now I promise to be a better to you, Naruto, Kyoko thought tearfully and determinedly. Some time later, when both Asuna and Kyoko returned from Alo, Kyoko decided to let her daughter study at her old school. Asuna was grateful for her decision. Suddenly they heard a ringing sound of phone call. Asuna picked up and answered. Hello, Asuna. Go to the General Northern Hospital, quick. Naruto is in coma right now. That was the bomb that Kirito dropped at Asuna's heart. What did you say, Kirito-kun? Why is Naruto in the hospital and worse in coma? Demanded Asuna with tears gathering in her eyes. It's really complicated. Head to the hospital and I will explain everything there. With that Kirito ended the call. Seeing her daughter gained a hollow look, Kyoko decided to ask in concern. Is something wrong, Asuna? Naruto is in the hospital and worse in a coma right now, replied Asuna with empty voice. What? Whispered Kyoko in horror and her eyes widened in shock. With Shino. Shino is walking on the street and humming. But suddenly she received a call from Kirito. As she listened, her eyes widened in shock and she even dropped her luggage. She just found out that her beloved is in the hospital and worse in coma. Kirito also informed the information to both Shuguha and Rika. They are just as shocked as Asuna and Shino. It was really unexpected and horrible news to all of them. Time skip. General Northern Hospital. Naruto's cabin. The girls has gathered in the cabin and has a hollow look in them. Kyoko was present there as well. While Naruto's girlfriends are surrounding him, Asuna decided to talk alone with Yuki. So you are Yuki? Yes, I am, answered Yuki simply. Asuna leaned in closer and narrowed her eyes in interest. You look a little different than your avatar. But you, Asuna, look the same. Yuki put her gaze to the ground and asked softly. Do you blame me for what happened to Onisama? Yuki has explained her why she called him that, so she is knowledgeable about that now. No. Why should I? It's Naruto's choice after all. Besides, I should say that if Naruto didn't do that, then he is no longer Naruto we all know and love. Yuki smiled slightly at her comment. Yeah, Onisama is amazing. I am actually surprised that he has 3 girlfriends IRL. I just thought that their relationships exist only in virtual world. Well, the 3 of them both loved him really much. But I can see the change as well. Since Sinin-chan moved in with Naruto, their relationship has become even closer. By saying that, it's regretfully, but Shugu-chan and Rika might not have a chance anymore. Asuna turned to look at the 2 girls she mentioned above. I am sure that they also noticed that their feelings to Naruto are not as strong as before. Then she turned her gaze to Shino, which has a very painful look on her face. On the contrary, Sinin-chan truly loved Naruto. I can see it in her eyes. Her heart is torn to million pieces right now, just looking at Naruto in such a state. Shuguha and Rika looked at Shino, how much emotions she is pouring out now. They can feel it. Her feelings is much more stronger than theirs right now. But they knew that this moment will come eventually. Naruto eventually must choose one of them to spend the rest of his life with. Rika has thought that just because they become the couple first that her feeling will be stronger to him. Shugu has thought that she has finally met her destined one. But she slowly realized with time that her feelings started to diminish. Both girls thought the same thing. It's time to let go of Naruto. It will be difficult, but that is necessary to start their new pages of life. Besides, it's not like they won't be friends anymore. Naruto has Shino now, and she will take care of him from now and the rest of his life. Time skip. Night time. Everybody has already left, only Shino is sitting near her comatose boyfriend right now. Yuki understood that Shino needs some time alone to stay with Naruto. Shino caressed Naruto's cheek lovingly while saying, Barker, why do you always like to play hero, huh? I would have thought when I return to our home, you would greet me with some stupid pranks. Then I will get angry at you and chase you around the house. I would have nagged at you for eating ramen the whole week. She laughed softly as she said that. Then she added, I've understood one thing when I went to visit my mother, Naruto. That is, I really love you and want to spend the rest of our lives together. I love you, Naruto. Very, very much. With each words her tears start to pour out. That's why wake up soon. Don't leave me alone, please. I won't be able to bear it. With that Shino leaned in and gave Naruto the most passionate kiss they ever shared. It actually lasted for a minute. Shino kissed at both of his cheeks and said, Goodbye for now, my beloved. I will be waiting for you to awake. No matter how long it will take, I will still wait for you. Just that, Asada Shino walked out of the cabin. She decided to look one last time at her beloved before left completely. But the moment she left, 3 figures climb up from window. The windows are technical let's closed, but they used a glass cutter to infiltrate. They approached the unconscious figure of Naruto and looked at him. So this is Uzumaki Naruto? Asked the first figure. Blonde spiky hair, and according to this paper, it is indeed him, answered the second figure while holding a paper and waving with it. Then we will abduct him like we planned from the beginning, ordered the third figure, must be the others 2 boss. The other 2 nodded their heads. The third figure turned to look at Naruto once more and thought to himself. It's hard to believe that I still have some relatives left. And he is the son of Kushina-san as well. That night, Naruto Yuki Uzumaki was abducted by 3 unknown figures. Yuki's POV. Hello, Minasan. I am Kono Yuki. No. More precisely, my full name is Kono Uzumaki Yuki. Why I have such a long name? It's because I have adopted my Onisama's family name. As you already know, Onisama has sacrificed himself in order to save my life. But something shockingly and unpredictably has happened the day we visited Onisama. When we decided to visit Onisama the next day, he was gone. Light disappeared, completely. Everyone was devastated by that news. Asuna nearly on the verge of tears while Rika-san and Shuguha-san looked downtrodden. But the most devastated was Sinan-san. That's obviously, because Sinan loves Oni-sama the most. I was also frustrated by the news. Kirito guessed that there is a possibility that the member of LC has kidnapped Naruto. But there was no proof about his deduction. After I have fully recovered, I moved back to my old house. My father was really glad to see me. He was informed by Kurahashi-sensei about my recovery. After that, I registered to the same school where Oni-sama has studied. And so began my daily life. A life that I thought that I might never experience ever. I made many friends on my first day. All in all, everything is alright. The only one missing are my deceased mother, sister and Oni-sama. A day later, a very beautiful lady with voluptuous body came to my house. She has pale blonde hair that she kept in 2 pigtails. Also pair of chocolate color eyes are looking at me with a curious gaze. I wonder what this lady want by coming to my house. I certainly didn't know her. My father has gone for his work. I am the only one at home right now. Anno, can I help you? I asked looking at the pretty lady. The lady didn't answer me instantly, but gazing at my eyes for a whole before decided to talk. You must be Kono Yuki. Yes, it's me. Who are you? I reply narrowing my eyes. I am Senju Tsunade. I am Naruto's grandmother and also was the one that gave him information about how to save you. Lady by the name of Tsunade replied, which shocked me greatly. Who would have thought that Oni-sama's grandma will look this young? She looked like she is in mid-20 or so. And did I hear just right? This lady was the one that gave Oni-sama to save me. So how can I help you? I replied a little nervously. I heard that he has disappeared right after days when he made blood transfusion. Tsunade narrowed her eyes suspiciously and asked, do you find out anything about his sudden disappearance? No, Tsunade-san. I can't find out anything. I shook my head and looked down regretfully. I see, Tsunade muttered. Then she suddenly shoved a stack of papers in her hands to my face. I looked at the stack of papers curiously, then noticed that they are documents for me to adopt the Uzumaki name. Why? I was about to ask, but Tsunade interrupted me with the explanation. You are carrying the blood of Uzumaki in your veins now. Therefore obvious you need to adopt the Uzumaki name. Tsunade turned her back to me and began to leave while waving as she is leaving. Well, goodbye for now. My granddaughter. Tsunade said the last part with a smirk while slightly looking from her shoulder as she left. I was about to say something, but decided against it. And that's how I become Uzumaki. Scene change. A week has passed and there is still no information about Oni-sama. Rika-san, Shuguha-san and Asuna have managed to calm down and move on. But with Sinan-san is different. She always looked depressed, even in school. Not only that, but she also carried a photo with her and Oni-sama and looked at it solemnly. Sometimes I even saw her go to the roof of the school and cried silently. That was an unusual sight for me. Because Sinan-san that I know is always calm and cool. That was the trait that made other girls admired her after all. Seeing her like this caused me to feel a bit guilty. Even though the others has told me millions of times that it wasn't my fault. I still feel responsible though. Suddenly I heard a sound phone ringing. I took out my phone and saw that it was Kirito who has called me. Moshi, Kirito. Why do you call? Yuki. I want to make a day as anniversary in remembrance Naruto. Could you help me to invite people to come? Kirito told me through a phone. An anniversary in remembrance to Oni-sama. I muttered to myself. Yeah, I am sure that many people will come. Because Naruto has saved so many people after all. Kirito stays silent for a while, but added solemnly. Naruto is my best friend and always will be. He has sacrificed himself for the sake of others so many times. The least I could do is to make everyone remember him. Naruto deserve at least that. I completely agree with you. Oni-sama has saved not only me by blood transfusion, but with Medicuboid, now we can save so many lives. What do you mean, Yuki? Kirito questioned me curiously. Kurahashi-sensei decided to use my blood to cure the people with the same condition like me. In other words, all the patients that got terminal care can be cured with my blood now, I explained to Kirito with a happy smile. Shugoi. Then by producing a pill from your blood, now we can save plots of people, right? Kirito replied in awe. Hi. So you see, Oni-sama is Messiah. The savior to not only me, but many others. I am proud being Imuoto of such great person, I whispered to the wind but still hold a phone to my ear, so Kirito could still hear me. Yeah. I am also honored to have such a friend as Naruto. At first, I thought that he was just like me, a fellow that was obsessed in VR MMO. But now I could see the difference between us. He was destined to do great things, while I can follow behind him and look at his back, Kirito whispered silently as well. The problem is Sinan-san, Kirito. We need to pull her out of her depression state. She can't stay like that forever. If Oni-sama see how now, he won't like what he will see, I stated, and that went to a bench to seat. I will ask Asuna to do something about her. The gathering will start at 1900 at Sunday. You have 5 more days to invite people through chat. I am counting on you, Yuki. Kirito told me what he expects from me one last time before he hang out. I put back my phone back to my pocket and looked at the sky solemnly while whispered to the wind. Oni-sama, where are you now? 7 p.m. Sunday. Allo. The gatherings have taken place in the same place where I met Oni-sama and Asuna for the first time. I looked around and saw lots of people surrounding me. So many that I couldn't count them all. Of course, I have expected for so many people to come, but this is beyond my imagination. Practically the people from all the race has come to this gathering. It seems the people that were saved by Oni-sama didn't forget him at all. Suddenly I saw Kirito walked up and started to address people loudly. Mina-san. We are here to honor my best friend that everybody here know, love and respect. We are here to honor the sacrifice of Naruto Yuki Uzumaki. Kirito made a pause and gazed around at everyone, then continued. As you know, Naruto was the hero that not only saved us from the death game created by Kayaba Akihiko, but he also saved us from the brain control by Nobuyuki Shugu, the head of full dive technology of Recto Progress. When Kirito reminded him of the most horrible moments of their lives, some players cringed at the reminding. Surely they didn't know about Shugu's situation, but the situation in Sao is enough to make them have nightmares sometimes. However, Naruto suddenly disappeared not long ago. A lot of gasps were heard from the people around. Nobody actually knew how that happened, but I believe that Naruto is still alive. He is not someone that will die so easily like that. He had looked in the face of death thrice, so the 4th time is not so different to him. Kirito then looked around to the people that had gathered here and announced. I gathered you all here, because I want to make this day memorable. I want for all of you to remember what kind of person Naruto Yuki Uzumaki is. He deserves to be remembered after what he had done to all of us. There were murmurs around and then a chorus of, yeah, was heard from the crowd. Each person that has gathered here knew that Naruto was a true hero. Even without Kirito's words, they could never forget the one that had saved the lives. From this day I announce this day, a hero's day. Kirito announced loudly and everybody began to cheer loudly. Normal POV. Throughout the whole Kirito's speech, Asuna, Rika, Shuguha and Yuki were standing behind him. Each of them started to remember their first encounter with Naruto and how he impressed them. But they are not the only one that was standing there. Near them, the sleeping knights were present as well. They all made a full recovery by taking a pills that hold Uzumaki blood in them, Yuki's blood. Clean, being himself, was pretty emotional and cried out, which made Silica that was standing near him to creep away a bit. Yui was in her pixie form and was sitting on her mother's shoulder listening to her father's speech. The only one that was absent was Sinan. That was because she is sitting near the lake with a solemn look. Suddenly she heard footsteps behind and looked to that direction slightly. It was Wendy, Naruto's virtual daughter that was created by Rika's demands. Wendy is in her human form. Anno, Sinan Carson, why are you here and not at the gathering? Wendy asked her third mother with a soft voice. Wendy-chan. Sinan looked at her daughter and sighed. It is difficult for me to stand there and recall all my memories about Naruto. I still can't accept the fact that he is not here with me anymore. I really love him, Wendy-chan. Very, very much. Sinan's tears are pouring out from her eyes like river now. She can't hold off her feelings that she is feeling right now. Wendy approached her mother carefully and embraced her. I am sure Tachan will return to us. He won't leave me alone for so long, you know. I know that he will return one day. Wendy looked at her mother and wiped away her tears with her small hand. That's why you must be strong for now, Carson. Tachan won't like it when he will see you like this. Sinan widened her eyes at Wendy's words and laughed softly. She rubbed her eyes and muttered. You are right, Wendy-chan. If Naruto see me like this, the first thing he will do is scold me like a child and then gonna tease me of how I lose my coolness. Wendy smiled when she saw her mother feels better. She sudden has the urge to climb to Sinan's lap and stay there. And she has done just that. Sinan looked at her daughter curiously for a bit, then relaxed and looked up at the full moon with a satisfying smile. After the gatherings, back with Yuki's POV. When the gathering has ended, I decided to grab something to eat. But some voices behind me caused me to turn to them. The voices belong to my friends from Sleeping Nights. Minna, long time no see, I turned to them to greet them all. Yes, it's been a while, Yuki. I heard you was pretty busy, Seyun said and looked at me with her usual soft expression. We know all about you and Naruto-san. My apologies, about what happened with Naruto-san, said Jun solemnly. But I waved my hand to dismiss it. Don't worry about it. I am sure that Oni-sama is alive somewhere. I tried to convince not only them but myself as well. And thank you for cure us from our illness. We will be forever in your debt, said Nori and bowed down, make me feel uncomfortable. It's nothing. And actually this is not my credit. It is all Oni-sama. Then I looked up at the sky and whispered quietly. That's right. It was all Oni-sama's doings. If not for him none of us will be standing here now. Both me and Sleeping Nights looked down to the ground and kept silent for a while. But then I looked up with a smirk and said cheerfully. That's why we must become the best guild in this game to not disappoint Oni-sama. That's the least we can do to make him proud. Osu. We all raised our fist to the sky and said at once. Normal POV. Epilogue. 1 year later. A new game that was created by Naruto Yuki Uzumaki has released. Shinobi World Online. The new VR MMO that had immediately caught attention of all people that was familiar with VR MMO. The game was finished by Naruto's guardian Jiraiya, but the one that released the game was none other than Kikuoka Seijiro, as Naruto has promised. With the game released, Kikuoka has become rich really fast and also partnered with Jiraiya to help in his business. The most noticeable feature of this game is of course free PK. There was also the type of chakra and Kekkei Genkai when entered some particular clans. The Shinobi world mainly divided in 5 nations: fire, earth, water and lightning. Each nation has major villages such as Konoha, Iwa, Kiri and Kumo. But the game also allows for one who is rich enough to create your own country. Ansaram, Taki, Hoshi and some others minor country had appeared on the map of Shinobi world. Each village has their supreme leader called Kage. Hokage, Chuchikage, Mizukage and Reikage, those are the names of the ones who controlled the village. Obvious the most skilled player is the Kage of his or her village. After Kages comes high mid-low level Shinobi. Chunin and Genin respectively. There is also Anbu division, which are the elite of the villages but act exceptionally in the shadows. All in all everyone was captivated in the new game. It quickly became the most popular VR MMO and surpassed the other ones. The developers also tried to create a new full dive technology by the name of STL, Soul Translator, but so far they still on the planning stage. SWO. Konoha. Training Ground No. 3. 2 figures was seen clashing blades with each other. Their movements are so fast that you could only see shadows clashed against each other. Suddenly they clashed one more time before separate from each other. Not bad, as expected from Hayabusa. Exclaimed the first figure. You are also pretty skilled, Uchiha-san, said the other figure that was holding a dragon sword in a stance. The dragon sword is the exceptional trait of the member of Hayabusa clan. The sword looked a lot like a normal katana, but it has a dragon gem embedded at the handle. The dragon gem could be produced dragon energy to infuse with chakra to make the attacks stronger. But not bad didn't mean that you ate better than, the first figure said, then closed and reopened his eyes to reveal his eyes has turned red with 3 tomos spinning in each of his eyes. That was a fully matured Sharingan, a special trait of the members of Uchiha clan. The figure then charged forward and started to fold hand signs. Kaiten, Gukakyu no Jutsu. A huge fireball was launched at the member of Hayabusa clan. But he seems keeping his cool and just raised his sword high up and slashed at the incoming fireball. Kokuryuzen. A black dragon appeared from the slash and roared loudly. Then it rushed at the fireball and swallowed it. Just as the 2 figures were about to charge again at each other. A voice interrupts their duel. I think that's enough for a spa today, Kirito-kun. The voice belongs to a girl with pale blonde hair and chestnut color eyes. She is wearing a white vest and a fishnet t-shirt underneath it. The vest only reached to her midsection, which revealed a stomach that was covered by a fishnet t-shirt. There was also a pair of sandals on her legs, which everyone in this world wears. Asuna, what are you doing here? Kirito turned to his girlfriend. His avatar in this world has slightly different look than his previous avatars. He has slightly spiky jet black hair with 2 bangs framing his face. He wears a black jacket that was unzipped and a t-shirt underneath with a dragon symbol revealed to the eyes. He has black Anbu style pants and black pair of sandals. I just logged in and wondered where are you? It's just a coincidence that I found you here, replied Asuna as she leaned forward with her hands inject hips. I see. I just have a spar with a member of Uchiha clan to sharpen my skills, stated Kirito and crossed his arms. It seems our sparring is over for now, Kirito, said Uchiha and approached him. Yes. Thank you for the sparring, Sasuke-san, replied Kirito and bowed his head in gratitude. We will finish it the other time then, exclaimed Sasuke and was about to walk away until a soft voice interrupted his action. Sasuke-kun. So you are here after all. The voice belonged to a girl with strange creamy eyes. She has a Haim hairstyle that was long enough to reach her back. The girl also wears baggy clothes, unlike other girls you could see in this world that prefer to wear revealing clothing. Sasuke turned to the girl and replied. Hinata, you just logged in. Hinata nodded her head curtly, then ran to Sasuke's side. Hi. I've some business and just logged in recently. In that case let's go for some mission, okay? Sasuke proposed. Hinata nodded her head shyly and with that both of them jumped away. Kirito turned back to Asuna and asked, well, what should we do now? Go to Hokage to take some mission or hang out somewhere? I'd like for us to go on a date. It's been a while since we go on one with how busy you are with your job after all, replied Asuna with a pout. Kirito laughed and nodded his head. Asuna grabbed his arm and leaned on his shoulder as they began to leave. Hokage's monument. A figure was seen standing on top of a huge head and looking down at the village of Konoha. It was a girl with crimson silky hair that reached past her ankle. She has mischievous blue eyes that look down to her village. She wears a white kimono with short sleeve and it only reached to her knees. The midsection was covered by a huge obi. This is a works that created by Oni-sama. Shinobi World Online. I hope I will see you in this world very soon, said Yuki. But in this world she is known as Uzumaki Yuki. Jiraiya has made a clan of Uzumaki and made them seal specialist. That will be it for this video. If you want more, comment down below, like, subscribe. And see you guys later.